Hey everybody, welcome
Hello.
to Britpops React. Thank you for joining us today. We have got an interesting one for you today because of a buy me a coffee request from the lovely Amanda A. Thank you so
Down
much,
here
Amanda.
again. Lovely Amanda.
Yes,
So
always comes up with some great ones.
Yes, as you just mentioned there, she always tries to find us something interesting and thought-provoking, I'd say. So today we've got NORAD and the Cheyenne Mountain Complex.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Not quite sure what this is going to say.
NORAD. Christmas.
NORAD.
That's what all the kids do. NORAD, where's Santa? So yeah, and the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Don't know much about this. So
North American Aerospace Defense Command.
Yes,
NORAD.
That's true. All right, let's get straight into it and find out.
Back to another episode of Mega
Projects. Yeah, he's good, this guy, isn't he? Oh,
hello and welcome back to another episode of Mega Projects. I'm your host Simon. In this one, I basically knew about this because I really like the TV show Stargate SG-1 and all of the iterations of Stargate. I'm pretty sure that their base is at the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, but I'm not sure. Let's dive in.
Fair enough.
so he's pretty sure, but he's not sure. Mega Projects.
This mountain contains a secret. Cheyenne Mountain, located in El Paso County in Colorado, is the site of one of the most secretive and yet well-known military installations in the United States.
Secret, but not so secret.
Electrified the imagination during the Cold War as the specter of a Soviet attack loomed over the United States. It was an attack that never materialized, but if it had, it would have been the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, inside the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, that would have heard about it first. NORAD is no longer primarily based in Cheyenne Mountain, because they had to move out for the Stargate people. They now operate out of Peterson Air Force Base close by, with the mountain complex held as a backup. NORAD provides the United States and Canada with an early warning system for its aerospace while maintaining air superiority along its borders. Should any foreign missile or unknown aeroplane approach, NORAD is alerted, which then triggers defensive protocols, which we're going to go into later. The military command complex buried deep inside Cheyenne Mountain has become the stuff of legend. Countless movies and TV shows that deal with the end of the world include it, and despite it being completely off limits to most civilians, its uses are now far from secretive.
That's cool.
Think of NORAD like a gigantic shield, a combination of radars, aircraft, and weapon systems that form the basis of this enormous defensive setup. NORAD was established and activated on the 12th of September 1957 at Ent Air Force Base, which once lay close to Colorado Springs, near to the Cheyenne Complex. The NORAD agreements had been reached between the United States and Canada some 4 months earlier to provide a defensive strategy against any potential Soviet attack, be that with long-range bombers, intercontinental ballistic missiles, or even in the event of a nuclear strike. This was done through a series of large computers known as the Semi-Automatic Ground System, SAGE. By compiling information from multiple radar sites, SAGE, which was used between the late 1950s and 1980s, was able to compile a unified image of the entire area and direct an appropriate response. SAGE was based on the Dowding system, which had been the first ground-controlled interception system used on a large scale, covering the UK during World War II. It had more than proven its worth and is credited in no small part for Britain's successful stubborn resistance during the Battle of Britain.
Stubborn Brits.
Yes.
Cheyenne Mountain was not the first mountain that the US had been chipping away at. In 1957, the US government began construction of a hardened bunker within Bear Mountain in Massachusetts. Known as the Notch, the bunker was designed to withstand a nuclear blast and from where governmental staff could direct a response. On May the 18th, 1961, nearly 2,000 miles away, construction began on a similar facility inside Cheyenne Mountain, in which NORAD would be based. This area was chosen for several reasons. Colorado is a considerable distance from both coasts, meaning a missile attack would take longer, while this particular zone in Colorado was the most seismically sound area in the state. The government was also looking for a tough, no-nonsense piece of granite with as few veins, small cracks as possible, making it much harder to break apart in a blast. What they found at Cheyenne was ideal. The entire process fell under the supervision of the Army Corps of Engineers, but work was primarily carried out by Utah Construction and Mining Company. NORAD's Combat Operations Center went fully operational on the 20th of April 1966, but it wasn't the only system and command center that would be accommodated deep inside the mountain. The Space Defense Center and the Combat Operations Center became fully operational on the 6th of February 1967, costing an estimated $142.4 million, around $1.1 billion today. Between May and October 1966, the NORAD Attack Warning System, Combat Operations Command, and Delta One Computer System, responsible for monitoring movement in space, all became operational. By January the 4th, 1967, the National Civil Defense Warning Center had also joined the complex. As I mentioned earlier, NORAD, and indeed most of the other systems, they're no longer based in Cheyenne Mountain. In 2006, NORAD migrated the short distance to Peterson Air Force Base, and the following year, Cheyenne was officially designated as an alternate command center. At its peak, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex accommodated 1,800 to 2,000 personnel, but today only around 200 remain part of the skeleton crew, which maintains the complex on a warm standby basis, meaning only as needed.
Okay.
Fair enough. I suppose it's a backup at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The Cheyenne Mountain Complex was constructed 610 meters under the thick granite of the mountain, around a mile from the front door. Pretty sure the military doesn't use the term front door, but I mean, you know what I mean. In case you're wondering, employees need to park outside of the complex and then take a bus down the corridor. It's not the kind of place that you could really just wander around. 1, it's a massively secure military installation. 2, it's massive. The main corridor that runs through the complex has both a north and south portal, but curves to avoid the gold mines at nearby Divide, Colorado. There are 13 three-story buildings and 2-story buildings within the complex, which covers around 5 acres of land, roughly the size of 4 American football fields. Most of the buildings are built just 18 inches from the rock walls and have been designed to withstand movement of any kind, be it an earthquake or an explosion, with the use of more than 1,000 giant springs and flexible pipe connectors placed beneath the buildings. In theory, this system should prevent the buildings within the complex from shifting more than 25 millimeters, 1 inch, in the event of a disaster. It's also the only high-altitude Department of Defense facility that could sustain an electromagnetic pulse, EMP, which could come from a nuclear device or small portable devices. The buildings within the complex were built of Navy-grade steel, which reflects impulses while also shielding the equipment inside. The complex has been designed to be much more than just office space in a command center. In the event of an unimaginable disaster, those inside the Cheyenne Mountain complex could well be called on to direct the country's response, and that could take time. There are beds and suites available for the staff and high-ranking officers. It also has a medical facility, a shop, a cafeteria, a chapel, and a gym.
There's
the
the
one
suites.
thing there aren't a lot of is windows, because, well, there's nothing to look at. The bunker is designed to withstand a 13-megaton nuclear explosion detonated as close as 2 kilometers away. That's around 2,000 times as powerful as what was dropped on Hiroshima. Inside are sets of truly titanic blast doors, which themselves can keep a 25-ton blast wave at bay. Most assume that these beasts are located on the main corridor, but actually they protect a side corridor that leads to the office complex. If a blast were to hit Cheyenne Mountain, it would carry along the main corridor, gradually decreasing in strength until only about 20% of the original force would hit the blast door. During the Cold War, the threat level was at such a height that one door always remained closed. Those moving between would have to wait patiently for one door to be completely sealed before the other could open. It wasn't until 1992 that the decision was made to keep both doors open permanently, and apart from daily checks, the only time they have both closed since came shortly after the terrorist attacks on the 11th of September 2001. Blast valves are included throughout the complex with an array of filters that can detect and capture chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear contaminants. A fire station sits outside the complex with parking lots for employees. Perhaps slightly strangely, when considering what is inside, there are also numerous recreational facilities outside, which include Mountain Man Park, picnic areas, a racquetball facility, softball field, sand volleyball court, basketball court, and a putting green. Perhaps they wanted to have normality when constantly dealing with threats that could end the world. I don't know. Everyone needs recreation, even if you're inside a bunker that's designed for the end of the world. Sometimes you're going to want to go outside. The world's not ending every day. As you might imagine for an underground
You'd have thought you'd have had the fire department indoors.
Direct a response to the end of the world, the complex doesn't rely entirely on the national grid system. The bunker has its own power plant along with a reservoir of diesel sealed behind a closed wall. It's also got independent heating, cooling and water supply systems. All of this is maintained by 21st Mission Support Group, a ground-based missile warning and space control wing which keeps all of the above operating at a 99.999% reliability. So,
it's not bad, is
no pressure, guys. 21st Mission Support Group have even categorized potential threats to the complex, and beginning with the least serious, they are medical emergencies, natural disasters, civil disorder, a conventional attack, an electromagnetic pulse attack, a cyber or information attack, chemical or biological or radiological attack, an improvised nuclear attack, a limited nuclear attack, and a general nuclear attack. The water produced by the nearby mountain springs far outweighs what the complex ever needed, and 5,700 cubic meters provides a further backup. That's over twice the water that's held in an Olympic swimming pool. A second reservoir holding 17,000 cubic meters is used as a heat sink. This is a thermal conductor which maintains lower temperatures inside the complex by transferring heat given off by all the computer hardware into a liquid form.
Mate, he's got loads of info, hasn't
he? He has got loads of info. Where's he storing all that
Cheyenne
info?
Mountain, the systems and command centers it once housed, saw numerous upgrades over the years. In 1979, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex Improvements Program 427M system, a consolidated Cheyenne Mountain upgrade program for a command center, space, ballistic missile, and space functions, became fully operational. It had been developed using new software technology and would use computers with large processing capability. The 47M system was designed to compile several databases quickly, improve online display capabilities, while also greatly speeding up the processing and transmission time for mission warning information. By the mid-90s, a $1.7 billion, $2.8 billion today renovation program for Cheyenne Mountain got underway. The Missile Warning Center would receive a $450 million upgrade. In 2000, the Combatant Commanders Integrated Command and Control System, CCICTS program began, which would upgrade all of the mission systems within Cheyenne Mountain as part of a contract with Lockheed Martin. A part of this system to modernize the attack warning system cost $700 million, $1 billion today, and ran from between 2000 and 2005.
Holy caramba. I mean, you imagine the technology that was first put in there.
To move command center operations to Peterson Air Force Base was completed by the 13th of May 2008. NORAD is now based out of a basement below the base, much less glamorous, no doubt, but maybe the world has changed enough that we don't need giant nuclear bunkers hidden inside mountains. The new base costs less, and apparently the process works much more efficiently at the Air Force Base. It's just way less cool. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex now uses just 30% of its available floor space and sees only 5% of its original employee number. It is still used for on-site training, and no doubt if you ever need to stress the importance of the job, showing new employees an underground bunker will probably do the trick. Or, just speculating here, they had to move the Stargate program in there, and the other guys had to move out. Not really. But that's not quite the end of it for Cheyenne Mountain. In 2015, Admiral William E. Gortney, commander of NORAD, announced a $700 million contract to move weapon systems into the bunker once again to shield them from electromagnetic pulse attack. He wasn't exactly specific about what would be going inside, but it's clear that Cheyenne Mountain still provides the kind of overall protection that few, if any, places can.
Just to that. Interesting that you create a bunker to stop any attack of explosive, that you're safe in there, and then from 2015 they decide to put explosives in there, which could go off and completely obliterate it all. But then there you go. I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of information to take on board. But from an initial point of view, we know about bunkers and where these are. So it's really interesting to see the amount of money that's involved, and also
the upgrades and stuff.
What it protects from. The doors, because you always think, well, what can protect you from a nuclear strike? Not a lot. Where do you keep things safe, and radiation and everything else. So that's impressive to know. But obviously it's been taken away now into an
outdoor building, which is probably nowhere near as bomb-proof. You imagine, right, back when obviously this was built Cold War era, you're working in there with, how many did you say, 2,000 employees or something like that?
It's quite a lot, wasn't it, at that point?
You could literally be the last people on Earth, couldn't you, if it did kick off? Because if you're the only ones that could survive that,
yeah,
and they press the button to do the same the other side, that could be it. They could be the only remaining human race.
Well, this is it. I suppose people are out there that are protected. So if one presses the button, the other one can still press it because they're protected as well. Yes. All right. Well, we've got a little section here. What looks like false alarms.
Okay. Where the button nearly got pressed, but didn't quite.
Let's see.
Now, we've done a few videos which have touched on the uncomfortable facts that the world seems to have wobbled to the brink of destruction on a frightening number of occasions. Whether it was the US planes crashing with nuclear weapons on board or a Soviet nuclear submarine in perilous circumstances, we've come closer to a nuclear accident or war more often than you might guess. On 3 separate occasions, things have gone wrong with the NORAD system. On the 9th of November 1979, simple human error meant that a test tape was loaded without that little switch that says test being switched. The result was a steady stream of false warnings, which eventually led to the continuity of government order, which essentially are the set of procedures for the government to carry out in the event of a catastrophic event. Command posts around the world were notified, but thankfully the situation was quickly brought under control. On the 3rd of June 1980 and the 6th of June 1980, a computer communications device failure sent warning messages to the US Air Force command posts across the globe, informing them that a nuclear attack was underway. And just for a moment, imagine the poor souls who first read that warning. The results were a little different. Pacific Air Forces, which focuses on the Pacific region, launched their planes along with nuclear weapons in line with protocol for such an event. However, Strategic Air Commands, which primarily focused on a nuclear strike threat, did not because they felt sure it was a false alarm, a response which eventually led to SAC being criticized for not following procedures. As I mentioned earlier, maybe we are no longer so fearful of nuclear war that we burrow deep inside mountains and make sure that only one of the almighty blast doors is ever open at one time. While we still, of course, fear nuclear war, it has begun to slip from our consciousness. Today we think about cybercrime, fake news, global pandemic. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex is a wonderful fossil of a time gone by, an age when nuclear war was not just theory, but likely enough that children in US schools took part in drills. There's something wonderfully James Bond-esque about this bunker, an intriguing masterpiece of engineering built out of the frankly horrifying concept that one day we might get angry enough to destroy the entire planet. Places like Cheyenne Mountain Complex are extraordinary, but they do send a bit of a shiver up the spine. It is a testament to the absurdity of the human race, but also our unconquerable drive to survive and fight on. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do smash that like button below. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, as always, if you've got a suggestion for a future Mega Projects video, please do leave it in the comments below.
On there, lots of information. I mean, he does his research.
And
it gives you all the images and the backstory behind it all. So it's very, very informative. So thanks, Amanda. That's a good. Again, something else that I guess we sort of know that there's something out there, but we don't know to what degree, what it looks like, how it was built, what's available. Obviously we looked at the underwater springs, and the other springs, which actually keep the,
inner offices
safe from movement.
Safe. Yeah.
So I mean, didn't think
very
of that.
clever, and as you say, for the time when it was first originally sort of conceived back in the 50s, a massive project really. And then, I guess that sprang up things like Greenham Common Air Base over here, where you had all the sort of long-range capability. They slowly got closed down. We have sort of gone away from that Cold War era. I mean, now it's more drones, isn't it? Little things, not massive things. Little things seems to be...
little things that can make big impacts. Yeah,
yes. So and cybercrime, that's a big massive one, isn't it now? Anything to do with cybercrime and things like that, cyber warfare. We've gone from sort of trenches to nuclear down to cyber, and little objects being the massive threat now. So very good. I like the way he delivers it. Very proper English as well. But nice.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks to Simon for that as well. I enjoyed that.
Yes.
Thumbs up from me. We always like...
thumbs up from us. We are subscribed. Do we subscribe? Let's subscribe.
Yes, we will. But thank you for joining us today at Britpop React. Hopefully that informed you as well.
NORAD.
Come along, hit the chat in the comments. Let us know what you thought. And yeah, we'll get back to you on that. Because interesting, man.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't make one reference to Santa being detected on the NORAD system, did he?
I'm disappointed about that.
Yeah, one job, mate, one job.
Could have dropped that one in. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with another reaction. Until then, bye from me.
And goodbye from him. See you later.